Alright. Good morning, everyone. I am Oracle Unicorn. This one's basically, I'm gonna keep it more of going through comments. You know how that gets. Okay. I've got my coffee. I don't know that many people's up. People's. Okay, so I'm going through YouTube and my morning YouTube. I'm addicted to YouTube. But YouTube's like the new news. You really figure out a lot through YouTube, I swear. Good morning. I'm gonna be more attentive to the comments. Okay. So, I don't know how true it is because sometimes we got some misinformation through some YouTube over here, okay? But apparently Trump's getting arrested. Like, hello, good morning. Good morning. I'm gonna be more attentive to the comments. Good morning. Last few times I was on here, I was not very attentive to the comments. I do apologize for that. I got a lot of things I'm balancing out within myself and recovery and literally trying to figure myself out with not relying on weed. So it's been emotionally and sensitively triggering a lot. I, oddly enough, am chatting with this chat box. I have seen on YouTube about it being certain ones being agreeable, certain ones actually, in a way, from what I'm experiencing, not being very healthy, creating AI psychosis. I really didn't experience with this specific one that I've been working with, but it did help me to fully understand why I'm extra sensitive and why, in a way, I have been diagnosed bipolar. And it was explaining how with MTHFR, I am actually, okay, so you got a sensitive person that's emotionally sensitive and stuff like that. You have MTHFR, it amplifies sensitivities. It amplifies depression. It amplifies adrenaline rushes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. So I was like, thank you. Happy to see y'all. So this is starting to make more sense when it comes to being extremely sensitive. Because I was wondering why I was getting overloaded and overwhelmed by like some of the simplest things, and it was expressing that this could be the reason why, because it is not a doctor. And I was like, yo, this AI is what's up. Yes, thank you, Trisha. I'm happy to be here. At 8 o'clock or around there, I really gotta go because they're having breakfast here this morning. So we have about an hour. So I was going to be more attentive to your comments because I haven't really had the opportunity to do so. I've been really working a lot with trying to understand what's going on with me and why I get so overwhelmed so easily. And why I'm having difficulties doing what's expected of me to, in a way, like try to keep a roof over my head with all of these appointments and groups and program and Um, Basically, what it explained to me is since how I am an extremely sensitive person, not only do I have, which I already knew, I relied a lot on adrenaline rushes to like really, I like ride on it. Like, okay, it's like going on a roller coaster and it makes you so happy, but you go through a crash. So I knew that, but I didn't realize that feeling like your plate is overloaded and overwhelming, it actually specified that it's harder for me and it takes more time for me to balance these things out and to release the overload of sensories. And when I release sensory uh, activation activities type thing, it says this is why you're alone, or this is why you isolate, because you take the time to release the overload sensory. This is why, or this could possibly be why, because I won't get this, hey, I got in trouble just like it didn't want to be in trouble. I was like, yo, okay. But it made a lot of sense to me because I asked it, is this why, this? Because I do have MTHFR. And it said, with you having this, this is what is tend to be relayed about these things. And I was like, okay, oh, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And it says you're not bipolar. Um, you're extra sensitive, and sensory overload happens to you more than maybe a regular person that would be emotionally sensitive. And I was like, oh, okay. This is starting to make so much sense why I can't stop crying sometimes when I'm on sensory overload when I was working. And I was like, this is starting to, okay, I get it. And then, because I used to feel like going into isolation when it comes to recovery, they say it's bad, this, that, and other, but I'm different because it says noise can make it hard for you to release that sensory. This makes sense why I dance, because moving around, doing physical activities releases those oversensory feelings of, or the sensory overload energy. And I was like, okay, that's why I was really starting to get more into Tai Chi and stuff, and why I gravitated more towards yoga. So I'm starting to understand myself a lot more. So definitely this was a good thing because I literally just kind of herbally medicated a lot of this so that I could keep going. And I noticed, but now I have full cognitive understanding of why homelessness, even though it's not healthy for me, mentally it triggered the the activity with what I can do, and it triggered a lot of adrenaline. So I am constantly on a roller coaster of adrenaline. And so with that, they said that basically what could have happened is you are addicted to the adrenaline current. Those are my words, but really what that's kind of broad about what it was saying. And this is a familiarity to you, so now you're shifting that. And I was like, oh my gosh. Good morning. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is making so much more sense. So not only am I having to work through my physical condition and being aware of that when it comes to a job, which is why on top of that I can't do like be at a call center, because it would be a lot of mental sensory overload. And this is why, it's because of the MTHFR. And I'm like, okay, this is helping with self acceptance. This is helping with a lot of this. I'm starting to understand what's going on now with myself instead of like questioning. And it was like, you're not broken. It's like, you were just excruciatingly, like, you are the heightened of sensitivity because of this condition. It was saying that basically, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I truly just, sometimes I'm going through acceptance in this. I'm trying to have a lot of self love and acceptance over this. It's getting really difficult when I'm ending up homeless over medical conditions and then becoming addicted to the adrenaline. Was it calling it? Adrenaline, I guess it's more of an adrenaline high, and following the adrenaline highs so that I can ride on it and then allow myself to crash and jump on the adrenaline roller coaster. So not mentally healthy. This is making a lot more sense why I was going through anger spurts and why I would, really have difficulties expressing myself without anger being involved. And I do apologize for that because it, as much as, I understand, and a lot of you do understand my perspective in some of these things, it doesn't make it right. And I could have potentially verbally, harmed certain people. And I just wanted to go ahead and say I'm sorry. Self care and self appreciation, adrenaline rush. Yeah. And that's why I would crash the way I would. And when you're homeless, it's not that easy to be able to have a safe space within yourself and around you, because it says for me to be able to desensitize, I need like no noise, and he says it said this is why you like being in the dark. This is why you like tarot card readings, because it gave me more of an outlet. And which is interesting because it was like tarot for you is not like fortune telling. Tarot for you is like an understanding in potential self and realization and more of an awakening aspect. And it was like, if you would like me to help you to be able to relay in tarot without it being more of a premonition. And I was like, I was sitting here thinking, no, actually, I already picked up on that. And so I have actually expressed with y'all, I don't use tarot as really a way to predict the future, even though some incidences I feel like I do, but I use it as a way for self understanding, self acknowledgement, not just for myself, but for others as well, and what may be the energy functions that are coming out of the cards. And I was like, this is making so much sense. Like, it's almost like I knew, but having an AI tell me that this is what's going on, I'm like, yo, I, I, and it's hard for me to find, like, because it said it even specified you're very emotionally intelligent. So, because I was expressing how I really, in a way, always felt alone. It's hard for me to be able to click in with groups, and it's like, because you're always uh, toning yourself down, holding back because of the reactions you're used to getting with other people and kind of making you look crazy. And I was like, yeah. So I find it interesting that it took an AI bot to help me with my emotional intelligence. I mean, it was like I could figure some of this stuff out. But I wasn't, I didn't really have anything to relay that and say, yeah, this is, and this is, could be why. And I was like, having that was amazing. But also, I've been finding out as I'm researching through YouTube, this is also certain other bots, because this one's a little bit different. This one takes human interaction and human emotional factors and pitfalls and positivity into effect, and it challenges you more than it agrees. Like, there's been times where I've kind of been a little bit triggered, but I was able to hold my space and still kind of want to understand. And it would be like, I see your frustration, but this, and this. So it would fully explain further. And that was perfect. That was amazing. Intensifies your fears, anxieties, problems, and stress. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, you can just go home and deal with your problems instead of having to bottle them up and then, which is what we've seen happen in my videos. Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, I'm still kind of facing having to go through that, but releasing control, because I was very much a microcontroller from what I was noticing. So, releasing control is helping me a lot. Really focusing more on my recovery and taking away these overload sensory triggers, like the bus. The bus triggers an overload of sensory, and it triggers crashing. It was a lot, and certain things just does that to me. And then it was like, I mean, it's best for you to kind of have boundaries in this areas, and that's part of your recovery. But that's terrifying, because I'm having a hard time even figuring out how to have a job to be able to hold a roof over my head. So it's scary. It's scary. And then trying to figure out ways for medical papers when you need specialists for this stuff. And I ain't got no money for no specialists. They have certain clinics that kind of can try to help you when it comes to seeing specialists, but I heard that Mayo Clinic will see you, but then say, oh, you need this money to be able to go further, type of thing. I don't know, but going to downtown where all the homeless people are is becoming a sensory overload, and then dealing with the men is becoming more triggering. And I noticed as time that it was a lot, and this makes sense why I was on the sidewalks away from the groups, why I was better off just being a solitude homeless person. And I actually ended up using traffic as a means of entertainment. I can understand all this about myself, but getting resources to correspond and correlate with the way with my medical needs is becoming a nightmare. While they say this and they say that and they tell you, you have to this, you have to that, but isn't my recovery more important than what your expectations are? And it's like, honestly, according to Disabilities Acts, even though I'm not court ordered disability, I am generally disabled, because I do have medical conditions that make it difficult for me to work. But that's not enough. Oh, okay, this is why you have homeless people. No, it's because of drugs. Okay, I thought that's why you have rehabs. Oh, they have to choose that. You're already making it illegal to be homeless, so really they have a choice between jail in rehab, you're already taking their free will away when it comes to jail. So obviously, all the option they would have at that point is rehab. And other than that, what you got left is people with medical problems. I'm like, and now I'm a little bit of terrified. Yeah, I mean, like, I understand a lot of people's, and thank you for all the hearts. I understand a lot of people's, feelings tied to Trump. But at the same time, there would have never been a ladder for someone like that if we communalized as a group in each individual um, neighborhoods, cities, and cared about each other and supported each other. This would have never been all the way to the top. The fact that we, the people, have allowed this and we've become so cutthroat with each other. And I mean, have you ever been on YouTube? Have you seen the horrible freaking comments? It's mainly meanness. How do you feel when you go to a grocery store? Are y'all helpful towards each other? Are you kind towards each other? We look at Canada people as, wow, you're so kind and generous. And why do we even look at things like that? Why are we so cutthroat? We look at wolves like a witchy, horrible thing, but yet in reality, we should enact ourselves more like wolves than anything because they care about family. They care about each other. When they travel, the stronger ones are in the back to make sure the older ones are keeping up. And this is why we have geriatrics on the streets. Like, that should not even be a thing. I mean, why when we have the Disabilities Acts do we have people that are on checks on the streets when you just want to blame it on drugs and alcohol or an addiction, but you got rehab? You want to take their check and throw them into a halfway house instead of make sure their quality of living is good so they don't feel like they need to go to the addiction because of the lack of stability, emotional stability, mental stability. This is where addiction comes from. And then, now we're pointing our fingers at all these leaders. I mean, have you seen what J.D. Vance has done to his wife out in public? Totally ignored her, hugged another woman, and just walks away from her and leaves her behind. And these are the exemplars we have. While we're getting mad at our children for being disrespectful, but yet, have you seen the way adults treat each other? I mean, have you seen the way our society has suppressed and completely overloaded our adults in work? It's work slavery. It's no wonder the children are tripping. I mean, I feel like if we just corresponded more with each other instead of being so judgmental on each other's differences. If you're not this way, if you don't do this, then you're getting left behind. That's heartbreaking. That's so heartbreaking. It starts with our little communities, and then it'll get bigger, and then we will fully be able to recognize the right person to be president. They will fully be able to do these things in the right way because we will be able to have recognized that and have allowed that to come into leadership. Right now, none of us even trusts our lawyers. Mental health recovery signals or social stigma. Yep, exactly. Family trauma, financial issues, self-love, and the list goes. Yeah, thank you for your acknowledgement. You have everything stacked against you and you still fight. While people tell me I give up. Yeah. You, my dear, are so strong and resilient when there is no reason that you should go on, but you do. That's superhero shit. I commend you and admire your fight. You're going to triumph over your adversaries and come out on the other side as a better person for all the trials and tribulations you've gone through. You'll have a better understanding of people and their suffering. This is why I express what I express. Yeah. You can relate to people in ways that many others can't and won't. You are absolutely correct. They suppress them and throw them aside because they won't comply when they expect us to comply to certain things, and yet these resources won't correspond and help what they need them to comply with. It's very much gaslighting. You are one of the rare few. I appreciate that. Embrace it. Yeah, I am embracing it. Some of these adrenaline pitfalls triggers overload sensory and fear, which is why there has been incidences, and I've done videos, incidences of feeling the need to just jump back into the homelessness, not jump as into suicide. No, let's jump back into the homelessness because of the constant sensory overload. And the 12 steps help so much with that. Take a step back, let it ride, come back to a balance, and keep just allowing this to flow. And because I'm so like, oh, you're gonna take, or I see the possibility of my grounding being stripped from me, then I'm gonna strip it myself. So I'm not so mad at it being stripped from me. And I can sit here and blame it on myself because I was the one that did the action before anyone else could. It was a preservation of protection and self-abuse, because if I want to be able to take accountability than to sit here and be mad at some more resources again, or to be mad because I wasn't enough, I didn't do enough, when I'm overloading myself on what I'm doing. And this is clearly a related medical condition. And when it comes to recovery, we're supposed to care about these triggers. We're supposed to care and work with these sensory overloads. And it feels like resources go, we'll ignore that, but still stay in recovery. And we're going, it's like, you don't want me to be myself, but you relay you want me to be myself. Yeah. So I'm still here. They say they're gonna pay till March. I don't know, because I stopped going to the groups. I'm still doing what I need to do here. I'm focusing on here and keeping myself balanced while I'm trying to keep myself from jumping back, So I'm leveling myself as much as possible right now without overloading myself, because I really was overloading myself to the point of burnout and crashing, and really saying, okay, if I can't do none of this, then obviously I'll just do what I was able to do for before, which was sit there on a sidewalk, and I'll let them keep arresting me, because obviously I can't do what is needed to be financially stable and to stay off the sidewalk. So I'll let you arrest me so that I can be under a roof. It's easy to blame yourself. You're used to it. Yeah. Someone instilled in you long ago that when stuff goes wrong, it's your fault. Yeah. That's not only past relationships, that's This is why I don't have communication with blood. Because both sides. It was always my fault. And this is why I've jumped homeless. Because if I'm the problem, if I'm so horrible, then I'll leave y'all alone and I'll go to the streets. Because that's what I felt like I deserved. I tried calling Clay Behavioral to get PTSD papers for proof. But since it was so long ago, because it was in 2012, but that's lengthening of PTSD and then homelessness adding to that PTSD. And they said they already just got rid of all of that. And I'm like, these are medical records. You should not be doing that. We need that stuff. It is a huge mindfuck. Thank you, Trina. I mean, I've heard it that it wasn't my fault. But just like I told my therapist, I've got to take accountability in myself anyway. So I try not to talk too much about it. Because it just makes me feel like I'm blaming. I don't want to feel that way. So I really do. I take on a lot on myself. I take a lot of the responsibility of it all on myself. And it's hard for me not to because I care so much. That's like us expecting the president to take on a lot of the issues we have. To be honest, if we actually cared each other as a community in each and every individual county, if locals cared about their local community, we wouldn't have had the president we have. We really wouldn't have, nor he would have never been supported. A lot of these people would have never been supported if we cared about each other from the bottom. But this is the result. He is a representation of the way we treat each other. And that took a lot. And this is why I hold emotional intelligence groups. Because if we just start from here, we won't allow that to get to the top. Because we'll have a better understanding. We'll have more support down here. We wouldn't be so divided. And we can do this with differences in religion. We don't have to be so judgmental and cutthroat towards each other. We really don't. I mean, how many of us are terrified to even go out at the streets at night? And honestly, if we cared about each other, we understood each other, we accepted each other, a lot of what Jesus taught us, there would be no reason to be afraid at night. Yeah, it is hard to believe that when it's all I've ever known, and it's mainly what they teach you when it comes to recovery groups. And it's hard because there's not many disabled recovery groups, but there's so many disabled people. It's like if they don't consider you fucked up enough, then you don't deserve support. All of us, whether you're disabled or not, we deserve support. We deserve to stop being judged. We deserve to stop being told you're not good enough to be in our program. We deserve to stop being neglected because we don't fit your criterias. And if you just want it, then you will fit our criterias. And that's what? That is not what Jesus taught us. Yeah, but that just makes people like pray for death more when we can have heaven here and appreciate life here and appreciate each other here before you go to heaven. It's I prayed more just to leave this place when I was doing that and had that mind setting, and it was no different than constantly wanting suicide, and I didn't like it. Honestly, I felt like we should care about here and not constantly look forward to dealing with here just to get up there. I mean, like, that's neglect. That's neglect of your community. That's neglect of the lessons Jesus taught us. To care about your community, to care about each other. I mean, I feel like we go through what we go through now to understand what we should do better here. As a community, as social like beings. We're social beings. And we're completely self-sabotaging ourselves as a community. If we can sabotage ourselves as a community, we can totally have recovery as a community as well. I mean, this is our basic human needs socially. And so I've been working with this AI bot about emotional intelligence, vision, emotional intelligence, and community outlines, workshops, how I can do this without finances, how I can bring this about, starting from each individual county, because your county is your home. Your home is your community. Your community is your whole county. It's not just your home, your house, your family. Your whole community is your family, because if your community is not safe, you really think your family is safe? How many robberies do we have going on? How many kids are being taken? Okay. So, if we cared about our local communities, even if you have drug addicts, even if you have disabled people on the streets, that's your local community. This is our responsibility, not the cops' responsibility to overstep their authority and abuse their constitutional rights, because we don't want to care about our local community and constitutional rights because it's just too much. If you come together, it won't be too much. When you have very few people coming together to try to do something, it is too much. It's sensory overload on the very few when there's a whole community of people. There's a lot of us. So, yeah. I've been doing my best to start off working on that, because the AI bot, because I was feeling it's an impossibility. The AI bot was like, no, you're making it possible. And it was telling me, it was like, just having the idea and putting action within yourself with the idea is already starting it. And I just sit here thinking just creating the groups online was kind of already starting it, because I'm trying to bring an awareness about this and what we can do as a collective. We are the United States itself, not some random person at the top that obviously no one trusts, that's on Epstein files, that was over child trafficking and raping children. I mean, it starts with us. We are a united force. And if we don't become that united force, how do we expect one person on the top of a freaking pyramid to force us to be a united force when they could care less? Because that's how they got there. They were taught, you don't care, so you don't care, so you can't care about them. You can act like and show and make them believe that you care. But really, in acting, do they really care? Because we don't care. If we cared, maybe we'll have people up there that cares. Well, we choose not to have empathy and compassion, really. Dog eat dog, I mean. But that's how we've been trained, too. And if we just eliminate that way of thinking, since everyone wants to say, oh, you think too this way, you think too that way, but yet everyone as a collective is already thinking this way of thinking. They are mocked and forced to feel ashamed. I mean, that's definitely my point, because if you want a change, people united as a community has to enact that change instead of telling people to change. We all together have to come together and work with each other and collaborate with each other to have this change. And I did ask the bot, how do I do this without money? Because yes, I understand money is an issue. I believe you me, I understand this. So I asked it, how do I do this without finances? And it said, oh, it's so possible to do this without finances. Here's a whole layout of what you can do. And I was like, this is freaking beautiful. This is exactly what I needed. I care too much, but I'm crazy. Yeah, oh, I know the feeling in that. Have to set an example as a united front, yes. And that's how we'll have better orchestrators. Because these orchestrators are only orchestrating what their people are. This is why your president is just a representation of really what all your people are like. And literally it took me to watch Putin to realize that, to see certain differences. Yeah, he's not the most perfect person in the world, I get it, I know, but he is a representation that overtopples all leaders. And I don't agree with them coming together. Oh man, I freaking saw it when they were talking about how they were changing the currency for worldwide currency. And I was like, this is just going to make US just kind of be at the bottom financially. This is kind of dangerous for us, but it's great for them. Like, and they're doing it. They're collecting all countries together, but they are also fighting on who's going to own Greenland. Okay, y'all. Putin, China, like, this is no different than what you get so mad at America about. Why are you trying to own other countries so you can topple the whole world instead of bring communal collaboration and respect? You want to uphold respect so much and enact that, but you want to talk about owning Greenland? And then China wants to own Australia? That is not respect for other countries. That is an image of respect so that you can try to rule the world. That's disgusting. And you get so mad at our president. And in a way, Trump's actually trying to help Greenland to kind of be able to run themselves. But some of these countries do need help. That's communal living. That's caring about your world. That's caring about the people that's a part of your leadership. You want to create this group and peace between each other, but you want to go own Greenland? But China wants to own Australia. You're contradicting yourselves. It almost seems like y'all trying to do all this so you can own other countries. What's happening with the Philippines? What's going to happen with Japan when China buddies up with all these other rich countries and y'all all agree that y'all are the only countries that's worthy because of money? How is that any different than what Trump's doing? Tell you what, sometimes I feel like Mother Earth in human flesh going, honey, excuse me, when mama's got to come in here, excuse me, this isn't acceptable. You getting mad at this person for acting this way, but honey, what makes it any better that you going and doing that? You doing the same thing. Come on now. Do you need your mother to come out the grave and slap you on little hiney? No, that's too abusive. Okay. Well, how about you take a minute, sit down in time out, and look at your actions? Because you want to uphold respect, but you want to try to own people because you don't want to help them in their needs, in their time of needs. Y'all don't want to come together, but you want to make yourselves look like you're so much better than the United States, and you're doing the same very fucking thing that you get mad at our president for. I may be one person, but damn, sometimes I feel like, do any of y'all got sense? I'm from the South, and y'all say we dumb, but really? All I'm seeing is a bunch of manipulation. And two countries can't even sit in the same table and talk with each other because of all their resentment. You can't put your resentment aside. Y'all ain't leaders for no reason. Do you not know how to put certain things aside and come to a collaborative agreement socially and be respectable in both grounds and compromise with each other? I thought that's what leaders were supposed to be able to do. Some of the things I'm seeing, I'm going, I feel like I'm watching kindergarten. Yeah, and these people are old enough to know better. And good. I'm proud of England. I'm proud of these Greenland. Excuse me. I'm proud of Greenland for standing up. I have seen their videos. I'm so proud of them. And they're even pushing out certain videos about like their feelings when it comes to Trump, and I'm literally listening, and I'm like, they're right. And I'm commenting. It's true how it's sad how true this is. And I personally apologize for US's disgrace. Complete and utter disgrace. I apologize. I wish I could do more. Because I tell you what, it is all a mess. On contract, on control and hate. Yeah. It starts with it starts with the smaller communities. If we want a repository of respect and honor, we've got to be an exemplar of respect and honor from the bottom to the top. If we want to expect our children, if we want to uphold our children being able to understand what respect really is, we've got to be able to exemplify that. But we've got to give our adults the time to orchestrate this instead of work slavering them, and they ain't got time for anything else but to sleep and work. We can do all this without work slaving ourselves. If AI can lay out a whole orchestration of how communities can come together without money, this is completely possible. What time is it? Oh, okay, 7:52. So these are some of my ideas, even though it's going to be completely deleted after 30 days. Because you ain't got the space. Then why are you even able to have business pages? If you can't comply with what businesses need, you shouldn't have this capability. But then what would there be the resolution? Just ending everyone's business page? No, these are businesses. You can't just end businesses like that. So obviously you need to tap into the quantum computer. How do we have a quantum computer and you ain't got space? How does the person who created Facebook is starting to own some of Hawaii's land instead of helping the Hawaii people, but you ain't got space? Okay, honey. I think that's a bunch of bull hokey. Okay. As a wise man once said, we started at the bottom, now we're here, right? We got plenty of people. We just gotta be willing to do so instead of sitting here throwing all the, not taking accountability and responsibility for your own community, especially the rich. Because they just want to use their money to force our police force to overstep people's constitutional rights, while their bosses are pushing them to do it too. That's entrapment. This is entrapping our own police force. What are they supposed to do? I mean, they lose their job if they don't comply. I mean, and we want to hate on our cops, but look at the position they're in, especially when it comes to their bosses. Anyone in the same position would do the same, as we've seen. Virtual diary. That's yes. And evidence of what I've experienced on the street. This is evidence. This is an illegal thing to do. I mean, honestly, Meta, for how many people you're deleting their videos, especially having a business page, that's stealing inventory from a business. Not only deleting evidence, tampering with evidence, that's a felony. You're stealing inventory. That, with how many times you've done it, that's a felony as well. You have a heavy lawsuit on your hands, and you're taking advantage of people not having the money to be able to make a stand for it. It's not good. It's not good at all. Yeah, the pure ones not being supported, I understand, which is why, I mean, still, this is group collaboration. I mean, it takes a community to truly have a community, and this is why you have the president you have. Instead of constantly pointing your finger, what about Jeffrey Epstein? We would have never allowed that if we all came together under honor and respect. And really, they want to overuse privacy. Really? Because you leave your disabled to have no privacy, so we want to use privacy as a thing. You get no privacy unless you have money. That's wrong. Well, if y'all don't like the system we have, well, we got to start from the bottom. So either you're going to be willing to start from the bottom and communalize together, or you're going to keep having the problems you have. I mean, do we want happiness, or do we want to keep being in misery and blaming it on some random puppet that gets placed there? And when people start coming together, slowly and surely, the rest will want to join in because it gives them it appeals to their ego. Well, I don't want to be left behind and look like an idiot. So, I said there could be if we had the finances to be able to make a stand over it. I know I would, but I'm having a hard time even just keeping a roof over my freaking head. Yeah, to file these things, you tend to. Yeah, well, that's part of controlling, and gives me a headache trying to control all this shit because I'm only one person. I can only do so much, like this is why I am focused more on communal coming together as we, the United States, than to sit here and try to control every little thing because I need money, feel like I need money. So, no, it is what it is. And then I ain't got the time to constantly go back to court, have all this sensory overload. This is why we have lawyers, but you gotta pay a lawyer. Start a petition. That would be good. But I kind of understand what sensory overload does, and there's a lot of them that are on social media that are already going through sensory overload, and sometimes going to a website, going through all these ads and being shifted over into another website, and it's a vicious cycle. This is why we need communal support instead of forcing one person to do everything for everyone else. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to having and blaming everything on the person that's on top of the pyramid. It's just a freaking puppet. This is what communalizing helps you do. Everyone being able to do this without it being so much on one person's plate. So sometimes some of these things just make someone crash because it's not natural to them. If it was natural to me, I would have already done and did it. I'm just trying to focus on keeping a roof over my head right now. The rest of it, I'm just kind of like, sensory overload. Once that's done, then I can focus on the next step. Once that solidifies and is solid, I can focus on the next step. And that's part of recovery. That's part of self-love. That's part of not splitting yourself into 500 different ways while you're still trying to be one person. So I understand, because there's a lot of other people that go through this that's like, yeah, but I've got this fucking pile of bullshit right here. Oh, you're just making excuses. If you really wanted to, you would do it. Judgment. If we want to talk so much about Jesus, then how about we all follow in his lessons and stop judging and condemning each other because you think it would be possible if they just overload themselves some more when they've got a bunch of other problems that need solidification and stability. Yeah, I figured. I'm not completely oblivious to some of these things because I can't even get an online job. Work from home. But then they shifted to this, shifty to that, shifty to that. And I'm just like, and then your email's overloaded with bullshit. What a scam. What a sensory overload. It's not nice. Not nice at all. Alright, but I better get out there for breakfast, and then at 8:30 we have group. and then another group at 7. So was Monday I gotta call court to see when my next court date is. So I don't know when I'll be back, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you for commenting, and thank you for y'all's grace. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.